It's now time for Matt in the house. Well, a very good day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Matt and Dan in the House of
Quark.
Exactly. Welcome, everyone, to episode 20.
20.
That's right. 20
Wow.
years. 20 years, not 20 years. 20 episodes.
20
There we are.
years.
20 episodes old, whatever that means.
Are you sure it's 20? I'm pretty
100% 20, yeah.
sure. Yeah. Cool.
You're making me doubt myself now.
No, I know. It's just
No.
because I lost track, really.
So you can be watched us now, of course, on our Facebook group at M&DHQ, or watched us on our YouTube channel, or listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Anchor, Breaker, and of course, Overcast and Pocket Casts as well. Wherever you're listening from or watching us from, hello. Hope you're all well.
Welcome along.
Right then, so of course, episode 20. But to begin this episode, it's time for Trek News. Right, so welcome everyone to Trek News, and of course we do have some Trek News for you all. So we're going to start off now with our first article, our first headline. So there we are, our first headline on the Trek News. We've got, that's right, back in production, we've got Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Picard has finally returned back to production, of course, being postponed with, obviously, during the pandemic. Do you want to read this out, Dan?
I shall read it out, yes. Production has been delayed several times due to COVID-19, but appears to finally be underway. After facing a number of COVID-related delays, production on Season 2 of Star Trek Picard is in full swing. Michelle Hurd, who played Picard's former First Officer Raffi, posted a picture to her Instagram on February 17th of her script and PPE mask with the caption, "Back to work, and it feels so good." Production was to begin over the summer, but production was delayed as Southern California, where Picard shoots, has seen some of the largest COVID-19 numbers across the country. Wow. Whilst replying to a fan question back in December 2020, Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Picard actress Jeri Ryan, who plays, of course, 7 of 9, revealed that production was to begin at the start of February.
So start of, this month now we're just leaving, but that is, of course,
Yes.
great. Well, you got to think as well, we don't do Trek News every single week, so sometimes we can be a little bit behind on things, but still, though, I think the whole point of this this headline here is that, well, Picard is in production. You've heard it straight from the horse's mouth. We got Jeri Ryan there, obviously stating that to a fan on Twitter. Yes, we are in production now. Got our PPEs on, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Got our COVID tests.
Exactly, yeah. So it's it's a great day for Picard fans definitely out there. You know, it's great to know that it is still being made, and as you know, as the year goes, well, we're getting more and more closer to the light and all that. I'm sure we'll see many more seasons of Picard. So definitely,
no, absolutely. It's good that obviously it is continuing despite all the COVID stuff. So
I mean, I've heard loads of rumors about, I know, Q possibly being in Picard season 2, and all sorts of things like that.
I would love that. I think he has to be, really, because it's Picard. But
I think Whoopi Goldberg has come forward as well and said she'd like to be part of.
I actually think because I think there's a video on YouTube somewhere where Patrick Stewart actually asks her in person to go on it. So
yeah.
I think Whoopi Goldberg hosts a chat show in America. And Patrick Stewart was on it.
Oh, awesome!
He asked her, So but there we are. So finally, well, I say finally, it's good news that obviously, even with COVID going on, and obviously we are getting closer to the light, like you say, production seems to be going on. And I think also, on a side note, Star Trek Discovery is halfway through season 4 filming. So it's great that all these shows are still filming despite the pandemic. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Right
I'm-
then, we're going to move on now to our next headline,
article.
next
Yes.
article, and we got Void documentary. Now I discovered this because of Harry Kim. I can't remember the actual actor's name. If he is listening, he'll be very annoyed at me now.
Well, it's Garrett Wang, so
That's it. That's it. Garrett Wang. That's it. So
we've redeemed ourselves.
yeah, here we go. Here we go. So, Mr. Wang, do apologize, Mr. Wang, but of course you did tweet. I do follow you on Twitter as well, but you did tweet about
Yes.
the
I follow him as well.
on the Void documentary. He's currently got his own podcast, isn't he, as well? Called the
Delta Flyers.
that's it, Delta Flyer. That's it. So Delta Flyers.
Yeah. With Robert Duncan McNeil. Yeah, no.
yeah.
You should,
So
do you follow Robert Duncan McNeil on Twitter as well?
I think I do as well, actually. Yeah.
He's
So
good.
definitely worth listening to that as well, because it's quite cool. They go through every single Voyager episode and then they just reflect on it. So they talk at the start, then they go off to watch it, and then they just talk about it. And they talk about what they remember, like, you know, when they were filming them episodes and stuff. So it's quite interesting, you know, like literally.
Awesome.
Yeah, straight from the horse's mouth. That's what I really like about it. But anyway, he did state about the Voyager documentary. Made by the same company, of course, who made the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind. I still haven't seen that, to be honest with you.
Nor me, no. And I think the only place to watch it, for us anyway, is on YouTube, but you have to pay for it.
Right, okay.
Which I think is only like £2.50. But
okay.
But
that's not
I
bad,
mean, I
no.
might be wrong. It might be like 10 quid. But yeah, I really want to see it because, you know, it looks good.
But
yeah, so I'm guessing then from that it will be similar to the DS9 one, then the Voyager one.
Yeah, I think it's just basically a documentary about obviously the production and everything that went into making Star Trek Voyager. I guess the fans and all that as well. Apparently went into production last year, March 2020. But of course, again, you can imagine restrictions and all that, same as Picard.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I read somewhere that they managed to keep it going. So I think it is back in now. So I'm hoping that it will be made and released soon. Yeah, so there we are. So Void documentary. That's another thing to look out for all you Trekkies.
Do we know what it's called yet, or is it just going to be called Void documentary? Because obviously the DS9 one is called What We Left Behind, because
I don't know.
Left Behind is the name of the last episode. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Possibly, maybe it will be called Void documentary. I don't know.
It's going to be awesome though. Hopefully everybody's involved with it, like Captain Janeway and even like people like Neelix, and you know, because you don't really see interviews with those people, do you really?
And I guess it'd be interesting, yeah, like Tim Russ as well. Obviously, Tim Russ, as we know, did a lot for like well, you know, the fan fiction stuff he did, you know. We did that, so it'd be interesting, you know, what he, you know, will he link it to the fan fiction stuff as well and talk about the fans and all that? And because Tim Russ sort of, he carried on Star Trek in his own way, and you know, because he did obviously Renegades, you know, so you know, it'd be interesting if he does bring that up. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch the DS9 documentary when I can, and I'm definitely gonna watch this one. I think when it works.
I'm all about the Voyager documentary.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. Yeah, definitely. Right then, so we're going to move on now to our last headline of Trek news. Now, a lot of you would have been hearing news all about a brand new Star Trek show that is for younger audiences, and that is, of course, Star Trek Prodigy. Well, they have released the first image of the characters in Star Trek Prodigy. And if you are listening, of course, you won't be able to see. But if you are watching, we'll show it to you right now. If you are listening, find a picture, type it on Google, Star Trek Prodigy new cast or whatever, and you'll see them there. But me and Dan are going to have a look at this now. So this is the Star Trek Prodigy team. Here we go. Well, there they are. Wow.
At first glances, it looks like it doesn't. I wouldn't associate that with Star Trek, but it's actually quite interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Borderlands in a weird way. I know you don't know what Borderlands is. Like the robot reminds me a lot of Claptrap from Borderlands.
Well, I was thinking of Borderlands, but I was thinking of video games, which is quite funny.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought of that then, because I thought of like I can't remember. I'm not 100% sure what they call it. Are the Starlanders or something, or Skylanders? The things that you collect and you put them on.
Yes,
It
yes,
reminds me of them.
Skylanders,
So,
I think.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah,
it reminds me of them. And it's very. I mean, this is what's different between this as well. Obviously, this is an animation. We have to, make it clear that this is an animation. And what's interesting with this one is that it's not an animation like Lower Decks or the animated series. I mean, I think that the term for that is cell animation. So it's more like a drawing that sort of stuff is. Well, this is CGI. This is definitely computer generated imagery. So Star Trek hasn't really got into this sort of medium before. This whole, well, I'm going to say it, Disneyfied. It's very Disney, doesn't it? I mean, you see all them pictures online about if Star Trek was owned by Disney. I mean, this is basically it. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And not necessarily a bad thing either, though. I'm not knocking it. I mean, it's interesting. This is obviously, I'm going to say cast. It is a cast, an animated cast. None of them are, human. I don't think any of them are human. They're not human to me. None of them do.
I don't think so. No.
They're all aliens. At the moment, I don't know about you. I can't pick out a Star Trek race at the moment. I can't actually identify.
I think they're probably all new, which is great. Bringing new races and stuff. Because that one on the right, on the far right there, as you look at the screen, that reminds me of the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah. I mean, the robot again just reminds me of Wall-E or something. Like it looks like Star Trek. If Pixar made Star Trek or something.
That's true. Yeah, Pixar. It looks a little bit like the Pixar lamp.
Yeah, or the lamp. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I can't pick out a Star Trek race. I don't know, it's just me, but I can't. I don't know what race these are meant to be. I don't know. I mean, as I said, it is cool to get more races, I guess, in the Star Trek universe and to learn more about them. I mean, this sort of thing. I mean, a lot of people get quite angry on like Facebook and things like that about this image, but I mean, you have to take in, you have to understand this is for children. Obviously, this is for a younger audience. So when you are watching Star Trek Prodigy, which I'm sure me and you will watch Star Trek Prodigy,
Yes.
we'll have to understand. Also, think while we're watching it, this is for kids. It's not really for me and you.
Yeah.
Really. Well, it is really, because we will watch it anyway. But
we will watch it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's a great way of getting kids into Star Trek, I guess, because, I think they watch Star Trek Prodigy and then they go, oh, wow, well, who's Jonathan Archer? Who's, Cisco and all that? So this maybe is a great way of getting people into Star Trek, which I think the same with the Kelvin universe. That did that, got people into Star Trek.
Yeah, well, people like yourself, that's how
it was people like myself, actually. I mean, I liked Star Trek before that, but I wouldn't exactly call myself a fan. But then when J.J. Abrams brought out Star Trek 2009, that's what got me into it even more. So I do think the things like this are important. I mean, definitely.
I think as well, I mean, with the Star Trek Prodigy, looking at that, you can definitely tell it is for kids. And I think if I mean, I don't know, let's say if, like kids would, watch, say, Enterprise or TNG or Voyager, they might not be able to comprehend the alien. They might not be able to comprehend Borg or Kardashians. But I think that is definitely sort of starting them at the shallow end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
From that picture. It's like very easy they look like friendly aliens. They're not like, because if I got my nephew to watch a Borg episode, he might be a bit scared of the Borg. But if he was to watch maybe,
I'm scared now, yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I get it, yeah.
So I think it is definitely starting them at the start for kids. And I think that's great. So kids will watch Star Trek Prodigy, and it's kind of like going up in sort of tiers, like layers. Do you know what I mean? Like
it'd be interesting. Like obviously, I mean, Star Wars is a very. I always think Star Wars being more family orientated than Star Trek. Star Wars, as in, as in Star Wars always seems to have a younger audience appeal. I mean, I think I don't know about yourself, but with me, I always found that it was Star Wars before Star Trek. Star Wars, what you start off with, sort of thing.
Yeah,
And
no,
then you go into
absolutely.
Star Trek, you know.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it'd be quite cool to see children getting into Star Trek at such a young age with Star Trek Prodigy. And like, you know, I like the idea of kids having Star Trek Prodigy lunchboxes and things like that. Like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Which I think that will open that up for it, hopefully. I hope it is a success, you know. I can imagine it being funny as well. It looks like it's going to be funny. It looks like it's going to be fun. Family adventures, and also let's not forget we failed to mention Captain Janeway is going to get involved in some way, isn't she? So
yes, absolutely.
From what I've read, I think these are supposed to be like a group of young, say, misfits or something. They're not Starfleet trained or anything, and apparently they get a hold of a starship or something, and then Janeway actually teaches them about the Federation and Starfleet and all that. So
I like that idea.
Yeah. So I think that's cool.
I think I heard somewhere as well. It's already got a season 2.
Well, Prodigy has.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think actually that's from Kate Mulgrew herself that she's already started recording stuff for season 2.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I'm actually really looking forward to this now. I think it's the end of this year, isn't it? I think it's coming out as well. So it's going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out this year. Obviously, Picard is meant to be this year as well, and also Strange New Worlds, I think, as well has been confirmed.
Yeah,
this year, so.
Yeah,
a lot of Star Trek.
A lot of Star Trek. Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, so Star Trek.
I like Prodigy. The logo as well. It's a good.
I like the idea that the Star Trek insignia is like to the side. I quite like that. I really do. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Awesome.
So Star Trek Prodigy, keep your eyes peeled. It's coming. Star Trek Prodigy. Right then, so we're going to move on now to, of course, that's the end of Trek News. Thank you.
That was a big Trek News.
There we are.
The 6 o'clock news.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to Trek News. Gotta play the theme. Here we go. Right, and so we start now with episode 20, and today's episode is all about the mirror universe. So what we're talking about today, well, we're going to be discussing what is the mirror universe, what we like, don't like about the mirror universe, our favorite mirror universe episodes, and we're going to talk about as well Star Trek series that missed out the mirror universe, they don't include it at all, and is the mirror universe essential for the franchise? So a lot to talk about and a lot to learn, I think, as well from each other, which I think will be great.
Yes.
So I got some really cool images as well that are associated with the mirror universe. I even got as well, right in the corner, the poster for Mirror Mirror. I used to own that poster. I don't know where it is.
I was going to say, is that one you owned?
I do own it. I don't know where it is. I used to own it in uni. I had it, I think, with a magazine. I think it was Empire magazine or something. And I had it, and I wish I had it on my wall now, but it's just moving. It's like when you move around all the time, like especially in uni, you just lose things. But yeah, it's the Star Trek mirror.
It's probably still in your halls of residence, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's still up. It's framed. So yeah, obviously it started there with that episode Star Trek Mirror Mirror, and I got that's an iconic poster as well of the two Spock staring into each other's eyes.
Two Spocks, yes.
Right then. Right, and let's get started, of course. So we'll talk about now what is the mirror universe. So the mirror universe, of course, is exactly what it says on the tin, isn't it? It's the universe that's mirrored to the prime universe, isn't it?
It's a parallel universe, isn't it?
Exactly, parallel universe. But the mirror universe, obviously being parallel, and it's also mirrored by, I guess, it's your darker self, isn't it? Sort of thing. I say, like for instance, we looked at the Mirror Mirror poster. We obviously got good Spock staring in the eyes to dark or evil Spock, isn't that sort of thing? Yeah. So it's definitely this kind of like, if we had a mirror universe now, you'd have evil Dan or somewhere, and you've got good Dan here in our prime universe sort of thing, isn't it?
Dan with hair.
Evil Dan with hair. Yeah, so that's I think that sort of sums it up, really, isn't it? It's a universe that is literally mirrored, where it's the same characters, but they're different, as in it is sort of like their evil selves, isn't it? That's what.
Yeah, because a good quote actually from one of the episodes we'll probably talk about is from Intendant Kira from DS9. In the Mirror universe, she's Intendant Kira rather than Major Kira.
Yeah.
And one thing she says that sums it all up is the players are all the same, but everyone seems to be playing different parts.
Yeah,
that perfectly sums up the.
There we go.
Universe.
There we go. I think
that's
perfect.
But, yeah, everyone's just playing different parts, and it is literally just like you said. It is a mirror, basically.
Yeah, it is exactly a mirror, and I said that poster to me just sums it up as well. Just looking at that, that's what it is, isn't it? But anyway, so in this mirror universe, of course, I say everyone's playing different parts. So the Federation or Starfleet, sorry, no, there was no Federation actually in this. So we don't have the Federation. Instead, we have the Terran Empire.
Yes.
So the Terran Empire is basically the mirrored version of the Federation, isn't it? The Federation of Planets is the Terran Empire. So do you want to read this one, Dan?
I shall read it, yes. The Terran Empire. In the Mirror Universe, the Terran Empire is a militaristic, human-dominated governmental authority controlling Earth and surrounding space through the use of the powerful Imperial Starfleet. The word Imperial stands out for me there. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
It's quite stern, isn't it? It's stern sounding.
Oh, definitely. I mean, because obviously Starfleet is all about, I guess, equality and everything, isn't it? Well, especially, say, the Federation is all about joining everyone together, everyone, in a peaceful way. It's a mission of peace. And then the Terran Empire is completely different. It's about, humans dominating the whole, the universe, the galaxy. That's what that's about. Is that they, it is literally we come in peace, shoots to kill. That is that. That's what the Terran Empire is all about. Got a lovely picture here as well, Giorgio. If you're not watching, you can see it here. So, of course, the captain there in Starfleet, and then the Emperor and the Terran Empire.
Yes.
Which I think is a great example, really, of them two characters, because obviously she crosses over in Discovery, isn't it? Yeah.
She does cross over, yeah. Emperor Giorgio, I prefer Emperor Giorgio to like normal Giorgio, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But then to see her obviously in in our universe, so to speak, it's just great. She has a great arc, and obviously in the latest series of Discovery, she goes back, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So it is quite. I mean, to explore for her to explore that is great, isn't it? Because you see, obviously, she has different ethics and stuff, and they obviously clash when she does live in our universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like she doesn't really reform, really, isn't it? It's whereas obviously Starfleet is all about love and equality. The Terran Empire is all about hate and sort of segregation, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you got this lovely picture here as well. I got of Cisco and then Lieutenant Uhura. Obviously, Lieutenant Uhura from the Prime
that's
universe.
not Cisco though. That's Sulu.
Oh, sorry, did I say Cisco? Sulu. Yeah. I in my mind I said Sulu, but for some reason it came out as Cisco. Anyway, yeah. I do apologize. But there was a lovely image here, of course. He actually tries to dominate her as the man. He's like the alpha male. And to me, this is a great episode as well for women and women power and black power as well, because obviously she does not allow that, and she fights back. And I actually wrote this about this in my dissertation, actually, about how she fought, this with, how we really get to see her fighting back. Because, at the start, Lieutenant Uhura is quite, she's in the background, she answers the calls and blah, blah. And then this episode is when we see how, she is a very powerful character, actually, and, and very important to Starfleet. And I love this about how she sort of fights back, and she uses the Terran Empire as a way of doing that. Because obviously in Terran Empire, they're kind of like Klingon, as in the way that they would all fight each other. you know, to like up ranks and things like that, and that's what they do, isn't they? You know,
Yeah.
so I love the idea that you know, she would just basically just punch him basically and out my
I
way.
like because I like that scene actually that
Yeah,
photo's from, because she's obviously coming on to Sulu, and then
yeah,
like Sulu's like, oh yes, I'm going to get some here, and then she's just like a perfect woman and goes, I changed my mind, and it's like, yes, go on, girl, and
yeah,
then she
yeah,
just she's awesome. But because in that Mirror Mirror episode, when they first arrive in the Terran Empire universe, she's really scared, isn't she? She cowers and she's like,
yeah.
Captain
Actually,
Kirk,
yeah,
what's going on?
yeah, yeah,
But then she comes into her own, and she's just brilliant in it.
yeah,
She really fights back, like you say, and it's
yeah.
I mean, she does a fantastic job there. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. It's an
Yeah.
important episode for Uhura if you think about it.
I think so. Like to me, it was very important. Like I said, I had to include it in the dissertation because to me, it was very an important episode. I think, especially when it was obviously made in the 1960s. I thought it was a very important, very iconic actually moment.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, the Terran Empire. I just find because them really well. I think it really showed what kind of people they are when it came to the Enterprise episodes. I think they really explored that. Like it is really part of their instincts and it's like natural to them to feel like that. You know, it's not. You know, it's not like that they were brought up like that. Also, it seems very natural. That's what I found in the Enterprise. They were very natural. That's how they think. That's how they drive through violence and everything. That's what I found when, well, especially in Enterprise, they really focused on that, especially with Jonathan
Yeah.
Archer's character.
Oh, yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
In a Mirror Darkly is the episode.
yeah, yeah.
In a Mirror Darkly, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, the Enterprise ones, you're right. Yeah, is and the thing I get about that is as well from the Enterprise episodes is that everybody just wants to be in charge. Everybody just wants power, and
Yeah.
like their main goal is to dominate, but they also want to dominate each other. If that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
especially with, and I mean, and in Mirror Mirror, Sulu obviously sees that Spock's incapacitated, and so he
Hmm.
tries to kill Kirk as well. So he'll be in charge of the Enterprise.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like, and obviously in the Enterprise episodes in A Mirror Darkly, it ends up being Hoshi that's ends up becoming the Empress.
yeah,
So obviously, one of the things about the Terran Empire is, yes, they want to dominate everyone, and humans are the alpha species, but they also want to dominate each other.
yeah.
I think it's just really interesting. It's sort of
Which
that
I guess
interbreeding
really
fighting.
shows that it is like a natural thing of theirs. They
Yeah,
they they
yeah,
just that's the way they just plugged in. That's how they deal with conflicts and everything, and that's
yeah,
how, or when they want something, they'll fight for it, and um, I think, I mean, I'm reading the descriptions, a lot of things about people comparing it to Nazi Germany and stuff. They're fascists. There was a lot of
yeah.
ways how they did, like the way well, Captain Kirk actually, they sort of do like Nazi sort of salutes, don't they, when they're there? Because
They
Kirk
do.
goes
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, there's that. Well, that to try and like
Well,
obviously blend in."
the salute is pretty much similar to
Mhm.
obviously the Hitler salute, isn't it?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
think about it.
exactly.
So yeah,
It's also interesting as well because obviously it's thanks to a storm. Was it two storms in each universe that made them cross over?
mm,
So obviously our Captain Kirk ended up in their universe with their Captain Kirk, and their Captain Kirk ended up in our universe. And Spock noticed straight away, And I remember obviously at the end of that episode, Kirk goes, "Well, how did you know, Spock? How did you know, Mr. Spock?" And then he just goes like, "Well, they're very." His fingers was it barbaric or something he described them as. It was obvious. It was hard for them to act non-barbaric than you to pretend you were. You know what I mean? And I thought it was quite interesting.
yeah. And barbaric is a perfect word to
Hmm.
describe. Is a perfect describing word just for the Terran Empire in general.
Yeah.
It's like they're all about sort of another theme, I guess, as well, is torture. They use torture on
Hmm.
each other. And one thing that's in each of the, I guess, franchises is that the booth, the torture booth, because obviously you see it in Mirror Mirror, you see
Yeah.
it in Mirror Darkly. That obviously the Discovery episodes, Mirror episodes have got it as well, because Captain Lorca ends up in it. So
Yeah.
They're all about torture and just evil and being barbaric. And it is interesting though, that like obviously Spock just knew straight away. That's one thing I like about that Mirror Mirror episode in general, is that you do get to see each side's perspective of it. Like you get to see our Kirk going into their world and their Kirk going into our world.
I kind of like to see more. I know it's probably due to production and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to have seen more of their Kirk. I think if it was filmed now, we would have seen more of their Kirk in our Kirk's universe. If that makes sense. Yeah. So I think we would have seen more of that, but we didn't. It was very like we just knew, and then took them in the brig, Whereas I think if it was filmed in today, which would have been interesting if they redid it, how would it have been different? Like, would we have seen more of Terran Kirk trying to take over or something? You know what I mean? So I think that would have been played out a lot more. But I guess still quite interesting that Spock still went, I knew straight away, and literally just chucked them all in the brig.
Yeah, absolutely. An analogy that I quite like is it's like a coin, isn't it? If you've got it's looking at two sides of a coin, you've got heads like being good and tails being bad. It's sort of however you look at it, it's kind of like the toss of a coin, if that makes sense.
But obviously, with every sort of powerful empire, this is going to go into our next bit now. Obviously, we did have sort of resistance, of course, to the Terran Empire, which it does explore in Discovery, doesn't it? With the all different races. And when you watch that, if you watch that and don't watch DS Now or anything else, you just watch that, you will obviously feel for the say the Alliance or the Resistance. You'll feel for them, because obviously at the end of the day, the Terran Empire is all about the human race and blah blah dominating, and all the other aliens then are sort of like they're just being overthrown by this big Terran Empire. So you do sort of go, oh, I feel sorry for them. They need to rise up and from their horrible Terran Empire and all that, and because let the Klingons and the Kardashians go. But then, however, you keep watching Star Trek, you get to DS9, and then we learn about another power in the Mirror Universe, don't we? And here we go. The Klingon Kardashian Alliance is then born. So that really did flip around. But do you want to read this description here, Dan?
I'll read this. Yeah, it's interesting that this came about. Actually, I'll read it and then I'll say what I want to say. So I'll read it. The Klingon Kardashian Alliance. In the Mirror Universe, the Klingon Kardashian Alliance was a coalition government formed by the Klingon Empire and the Kardashian Union in 2295 as a counter to the Terran Republic, a short-lived successor state of the Terran Empire, as neither power alone possessed the strength of arms to defeat the Imperial Starfleet. The key to such an alliance between these two nations was the Republic of Bajor, whose role as a power broker ensured a level of equality that would not have been able to exist. The alliance defeated and conquered the Terran Empire, already weakened by the reforms of Terran Emperor Spock, and condemned all non-alliance races and cultures to slavery. So this goes on, actually. This is kind of like the result, the effect of what happens at the end of the original series episode Mirror Mirror, because if you remember, Captain Kirk says to evil Spock, why are you doing this? Why are you like this? Shouldn't you be good? And obviously, as a result, Terran Spock has a change of heart, as it were, and goes about trying to reform. And obviously, through that, the Klingon Kardashian Alliance, and even Intendant Kira says to Terran Kira in the first DS9 Mirror episode about those events of Mirror Mirror, and Kirk sort of telling Terran Spock not to be bad, if that makes any sense at all. So yeah, the is because of Kirk, that of our Kirk, that the Klingon Kardashian Alliance formed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think as well they don't really mention as well. I think a lot of it was Bones actually, because Spock did a mind meld with Bones, and I think he obviously saw the Prime universe. I like how we call it our universe. I quite like that because it is sort of our universe. Yeah, it is our and obviously saw what the other universe had, and then was like, oh well, I want that. And obviously, as we know, even though well, you got Spock and you got T'Pol, even though the Vulcans, of course, were, say, I guess, in the Terran Empire, they were still like second-class citizens, weren't they? So for Spock then to rise up as an emperor, as a Vulcan emperor, and then sort of weaken the emperor, the empire as well. It's really obviously, well, you can understand why he feels that way. You can understand why he sees a world where everyone's equal. He thinks, oh wow, I want that for our universe, But then obviously it goes the other way around then, because obviously the Klingon Kardashian alliance then actually make all the Terrans they make them into slaves, you got Chief O'Brien, you got a picture of Chief O'Brien, and he's actually got sort of like a badge on him. Kind of reminds me of where the Nazis would make the Jews wear, badges and things. That's what it reminds me of. As you see, there's a planet Earth on there. So it looks like Earth to me. So
because the Terran Empire logo is the Earth with a sword.
With a sword through it. Yeah.
So, it's interesting that you said about Bones though, because he actually does in that Mirror episode choose to try and save Terran Spock's life after Kirk, attacks him. So I mean, if he hadn't done that, then it might have been different anyway. So it is Bones as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm thinking about it be interesting now, because obviously, it's all about. Well, the last few episodes now of Discovery was also about the mirror universe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had Giorgio obviously goes through she goes through the door and she goes through through the glass, isn't it? Whatever, through the looking glass.
Through the looking glass, yeah.
Through the looking glass. That's what I'm trying to say.
Kira, that's how Kira describes it.
Yeah. I think it's the episode name for one of them as well, isn't it? Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah, Through the Looking Glass. Yeah, it's the second Mirror Universe episode of DS9, because at the end of the first one, Crossover, Cisco says to our universe, Kira, "Where have you been?" And Kira just says, "We've been through the Looking Glass."
Through the Looking Glass,
which is a great way to. It's like Alice in Wonderland, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It's a great way of describing it, really.
But it'd be interesting. Obviously, she's because. Correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of Discovery, she went back to the Mirror Universe, right? She actually decides to go back.
Yeah.
So she goes back, because she. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, because like Spock, she's been. I'm trying to word this now, but she's been, say, polluted or. I can't articulate today, but I'm trying to say. But basically, she
polluted.
She's been. Exposed. There we are. She's been exposed to all these like Prime universe ideas, obviously, of like love and affection and all that, and respect for others and things. I mean, when she goes back, in that one episode, she even helps a Kelpion slave, and says like, so because obviously we're gonna kill him. She's like, no, don't kill him. Send him to my quarters or whatever, So she obviously, I'm going to say the word softened. She obviously softened, because she was very firm, Empress character. I want power and all that. And then she's obviously softened. So when she goes back, and I'm not sure where in the timeline she's going back. Is she going back to her time, or is she going back past the Klingon Kardashian alliance? So I assume she's going to go back to her time. But if she does go back to her time, let's just say she does, how is she going to have the same impact Spock had, or will it be different? Or will exactly the same thing happen with the Klingon Kardashian alliance, and it'll just be her name on it, not Spock's? You know what I mean? It
is interesting to think about, actually. Yeah, because I mean, in my mind, Giorgio being Giorgio would have gone back to her time, because she did change the timeline of her mirror universe, didn't she? Because she.
That's true. Yeah.
So, because she goes back, doesn't she?
Yeah.
In the latest series, and then she changes the events of that.
Yeah.
I can't remember quite exactly what she does, but I know she changes some stuff.
But then, is it just, unfortunately, for the mirror universe that whoever has power just use it for evil? You know, regardless of who you are or what you stand for, there's always, because the Klingon Kardashian alliance are just as bad as the Terran Empire, as we learned. You know, so you know, is it that this universe is literally that everyone has the ability of evil?
I think it just goes back to what you were saying about it being natural to them. It is just natural for them to
but
be
not
like
just
that.
for Terrans, though. It seems for all of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
because
I think you might be right.
What I find interesting with DS9 episodes is that the Terran Empire, like we talk about, it's natural for them. You know, they're fierce, and in Enterprise it really shows that these are, you know, they're plugged in to believe that they are superior, and they are, you know, they're like a warrior kind of race, kind of like Klingon in a way, you know. But then when we see them in the Klingon Cardassian alliance, they're really weak. They're slaves. They're nothing. You know what I mean? And I find that interesting how they've gone from this sort of like, you know, fighting race that will, you know, because they wouldn't have gone out without a fight, surely, you know. I mean, you know, and let the Klingon Cardassian alliance just take over, you know. But then they're obviously just slaves now. And I don't know. I just find that quite interesting.
It's kind of like I say kind of like it the way I, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, but it's kind of like the Terran Empire being kind of like Nazi Germany and Klingon Cardassian then being Soviet Russia type thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just another.
I actually thought that myself. Actually, yeah.
It's just another. Obviously, after one empire falls, another one will just take its place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it is interesting, yeah. And then I don't know, like also the Terran Empire. I don't know, would it remain evil as well? I don't know. And obviously we're talking about that they're always evil, but also another way of looking at it, would the Terran Empire? Because obviously they allowed Spock at the end of the day to be emperor, you know. So
yeah,
that makes you think as well. You know, the Terran Empire. You know, would it naturally have just softened? I don't know. Would it just allow Klingons and Kardashians to just join? I don't know. It's
an interesting. I think it would have. I think it would have probably softened. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the damage was done in that episode of obviously of Spock's actions. Yeah. In my opinion, that's my opinion.
Well, apparently there is going to be. Well, there might be a spin-off of Giorgio as well. She might have her own show. So if she does it, I guess it will explore this though, like how
I hope so.
She may have an impact that will stop the Klingon Cardassian alliance.
Would that be like the Section 31 show that they're on about, or is that going to be just a Giorgio thing anyway?
I think you're right. I think it's Section. I don't know. You know, as like the internet is full of all sorts of rumors and things. Yeah. But yeah, no,
that would be interesting because one of the things I like about Mirror Universes episodes, which we'll get onto, is Discovery does it best. Is they actually spend time in the Mirror Universe, whereas with the Enterprise episodes, the original series episodes, DS9 episodes, it's our characters just dipping their toe into their universe. But actually, with the Discovery episodes, you actually get to live in the other Mirror Universe for a bit. Like, I think it's season 1 or season 1 of Discovery. A couple of episodes, a good arc is the Mirror universe. And I love that because I would love to see a Mirror Universe series, set in the Mirror Universe. And it's because you could get away with anything. It's kind of like the J.J. Abrams films just being set in a different timeline, like you say.
Yeah. And we will do a podcast on Star Trek time as well, because we were discussing that the other day. Well, yesterday, wasn't it? It's very
it's confusing.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, so that that is further down the timeline of the mirror universe, we've got the Klingon Kardashian alliance. So yeah, I think, like I said, I think the key element there in the mirror universe really is evil, isn't it? You know, it is literally
evil, habituary, torture,
yeah,
just being bad, basically. Yeah,
exactly. Whoever's in charge, it seems as well. They just,
whoever's in charge. Yeah,
yeah.
It must just be something in the water or something. I don't know.
Anyway, so we talked about them. Now we're also going to talk about obviously not all Star Trek series had the mirror universe. It started, of course, the original series with Mirror Mirror, as we've seen.
Is there another slide after this?
There is indeed.
Okay, sorry.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so TNG, of course, didn't feature a mirror universe episodes. So I think no, I can't remember any. Nope. Just double checking there. And of course, Voyager didn't feature any mirror universe episodes. Picard, obviously, Picard just started. It may do. And of course, Lower Decks. I really wish Lower Decks will, actually, because I think that'll be hilarious with the new Lower Decks.
That'll be amazing.
So,
like evil, just those characters.
Yeah. No, definitely. So that would be interesting as well. But I do have, again, if you are listening, you're not going to be able to see this. I'm sorry. I know I'm very visual for a podcast, but you can watch us on.
They can always watch it on YouTube.
They can watch it on YouTube. Yeah, they can watch it on YouTube. But I do have some images here. Some fan. Here we are. Some fan work there. Here we are. So one image there to the left. I'll just describe it. It's called Mirror Broken, and it's the TNG cast. We've got Data, who seems to be a Borg as well. That's quite cool. Borg Data. Why not? Captain Picard, for some reason, he's got really big muscles on him. He's got some guns there.
Massive, man. And Data has actually he's got some guns as well, by the looks of it.
Yeah, you got, of course, Councillor Troy as well. I'm not complaining the way she looks there. It's great. I think it'd be quite cool, actually, to see Mirror Picard. Maybe we'll see Mirror Picard in Picard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's awesome. Because I've not seen these before, so apart from when you showed me before we started recording, but but yeah, no, that looks awesome.
And then on the right, then we do have Voyager. I read a bit of a description for this photo. Apparently, it's about Janeway is meant to be like a pirate sort of queen. I think they describe pirate queen.
I love that.
Yeah,
pirate queen.
So so she's going around the galaxy being a pirate queen there. And I love the mirror universe. So it's all the dark colors as well being used. I've got Councillor Troy there. Diana Troy. They got her actually kind of like in like leather and black leather and all that. It's that sort of I don't know what it is.
Dark reds.
Yeah. It's kind of, I always think of SpongeBob SquarePants with Mr. Krabs, and he goes, "Welcome to the apocalypse, Squidward. I hope you like leather." Because it's that sort of thing, isn't it? You know.
I like the Voyager one though, because from there it looks like B'Elanna is embracing her full Klingonness. She's obviously and I think that would happen like in the mirror universe. B'Elanna would just be full Klingon, maybe. Yeah, definitely. Chakotay looks like Rambo or something like that by the looks of it. But that's awesome. Because there are a lot of novels and graphic novels of the mirror universe. And apparently William Shatner has written a couple as well. I was going to bring this up with you. William Shatner's written a couple.
His books are called Shatnerverse. I know that.
Okay, right. And that's set in the mirror universe, apparently.
Okay, cool. Well, apparently I did come across some images, and apparently some of the comic books as well went down the line of the mirror universe and actually did depict the TNG, because this could possibly be from a comic, maybe, actually, or maybe in Voyager. I don't know. I just found these online.
Yeah, I mean, the Voyager one does look like a comic, to be fair.
Yeah, and they have gone down the line with that in the comic world. I mean, I haven't really read that many Star Trek comics. I've read some of the called Gold Key Star Trek comics. They focus on the original series. I've read some of them, but I've not read any TNG or Voyager or DS9. I know there's a lot out there in the comic book world for Star Trek, which is quite cool. Again, it's more Trek sort of to explore there. Maybe we'll read some, and talk about them.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Isn't that one you read or you own or something? Is it mixed between TNG and Doctor Who or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that in my bookcase? I don't. I might have moved it. Hold on. Just take my headset off. See if I can see it. I might have moved it to somewhere else, but yes, I do. I do own that. Yes, it is. It is TNG with Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
I don't know if it's the mirror universe or just another. There might be a different universe altogether. I don't know.
But yeah, lots to explore, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I thought definitely have a look at these and appreciate. It would be quite cool, if they did explore the mirror universe in TNG and what kind of adventures they would have gone on. And again, exploring Data as a Borg, I think is really cool. I think, imagine Data seeing his Borg self, like that would have been really interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Right, and so what was you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, because it's interesting with Voyager, because even though they didn't explore the mirror universe in Voyager, they did explore a different quadrant. So I guess
that is true. Now you've got a good point there, and I guess with TNG, I mean TNG is what explored the darkest of all. Really, they explored the Borg.
Yeah.
So and that's one thing I think. I think they explored, probably the darkest part of Star Trek was the Borg. And obviously, I know Voyager explored even more, but yeah. So, But favorite mirror universe episodes. I'm gonna go first this one. I think my favorite mirror universe episodes. I'm gonna start off. Of course, it's Mirror Mirror. It's my favorite one. To me, it's just iconic. To me, it's just like I said, Lieutenant Uhura having a strong role. Her fighting back, of course. It's just the first time the mirror idea was explored, and I just think it's just it's a great script, it's a great story. It's to me, yeah, it's perfect, and it opened up so many doors for Star Trek, and it's one simple idea: mirror, mirror. That's all it was. It says exactly what it says on the tin: mirror, mirror. My other favorite one, though, I'm gonna say it as a series. Really, I'm not really gonna say one particular episode or anything, but I'm gonna say is the Enterprise mirror episodes. And the reason being is because I felt that's when they really did dive into it and really did explore it. As in, I know they did in Discovery, I guess, but for me, it was just the darkness of Enterprise. I think I had it perfect for me, like the opening sequence.
I know exactly. Yeah, it's just awesome.
And having when in First Contact as well, and the Klingons come down, and then they do the salute, and Cochrane just shoots them, and then
because they've used that actual thing from the ending of Star Trek First Contact in that episode. That is an awesome bit. Yeah,
and then they just take over the ship, and it's brilliant. And I forget that actually, and you said they used that as obviously the ending of it's at the end of the film, isn't it? Actually,
it is the ending of Star Trek First Contact. Yeah.
So and to me, it's just it's exactly what I want from the mirror universe. I don't know what it is. It's just that I think it's because it works with the history with it a lot more. Because obviously, Enterprise being a prequel. I know Discovery is as well. It is, yeah. But to me, the fact they had like Cochrane there as well, and it's that iconic scene of the Vulcans and the humans, and then boom! I just love that moment. Boom, and then they just take over the ship, and then that starts the Terran Empire. Like, so I love Enterprise when it comes to the mirror universe. I think to me, it's just And it's just, Jonathan Archer, like, what a performance.
Yeah, he's
Like,
so good. He's
amazing.
So good.
Like, it's just
absolutely.
Amazing. It's just
the way he says stuff and the way he
Yeah.
delivers his lines. It's just like he has encapsulated the perfect mirror image of himself, really, I think. So
and it's
great performance.
but it's all of them. There's all the cast is just brilliant, and how they, because you got to think that these I mean, they normally play. Obviously, the Enterprise is obviously a crew of everyone's quite, I'd say, conservative. They all they all follow an authority. They wear their uniform. They do everything by the book, and then they're playing these characters who are completely the opposite, where they're driven by hunger for power and lust. Because there's a lot of thing with having sex with other crew members as well seems to be part of it. And
sex is a big thing in the area.
Well, yeah. So I got too excited. Right. Then I moved my.
I mentioned sex and you get excited. There we go.
But it's been a long road. No, it's.
Yes.
Could help it there. Could help it.
No, I know.
But yeah, it's I can't what to say now. But yeah, it's just brilliant how I think it's just the difference, isn't it? And how the actors, you got to think of the actors, how they get themselves into that mentality after playing. It must be quite therapeutic, or quite just a bit of escapism.
Liberating.
Yeah, liberating. That's the word.
Yeah.
It's just, going from all these serious yes captain, no captain, and then suddenly there's these crazy sex maniacs who conquer and kill. You know what I mean? So,
It's gotta sex
be,
maniac. I'm gonna have sex.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be like
It is. That is literally it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So for me, it's just it's the grunginess as well. I think Enterprise just
that's a good word, grunginess.
Just had it to a T. What the mirror universe is all about for me. That's just that's my opinion. Let's over to you though. Favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I have mentioned it previously in this episode, but I mean, for me, Discovery does the universe really well. But what I like about Discovery is, like I say, it arcs. So like we get to spend a lot of time in the mirror universe. So that's what I like about it. Mm-hmm. You do get to see characters. I mean, you get to see Tilly, for example, being, captain of a ship and being evil and stuff, and mm-hmm. just that's what I love about it. But I like you. I think my favorite one is In a Mirror Darkly, which is the Enterprise ones for the same reasons really, but also I think it's the one that's closest like Mirror, and there's a lot of similarities. Just things like Trip. Trip's got like a scar on his right eye, mm-hmm. like Sulu has in Mirror. If you think about it, So there's a lot of similarity. That I think it's the one. There's the Gorn. You've got Jonathan Archer fighting the Gorn like Kirk did. So there's a lot of similarities to that. So, and like I'm glad you mentioned the intro for Enterprise, because I forgot that when I rewatched it this week. I forgot that. I was expecting It's Been a Long Road, and then it just comes up with this like movie theme music. And it is like watching a great movie, and it's just it's like wow, it's the most exciting Mirror Universe episodes, and I just, for me, like it's the one that's like I say, closest to the original mm-hmm. series. They moved it along nicely, and like you say, I mean everything's sexualized, and you've got sexy T-Pole and sexy Hoshi, and but like not as but as in like because Hoshi becomes Empress, so it's like Uhura really, mm-hmm. It's putting women in that sort of badass role, sort of without it's not sexualizing them in that
that's a really good point actually,
but it's you know what I'm trying to say. Not being sexist
actually. No, you're not being sexist, but there seems to be a bit of a theme going on actually with the Mirror Universe. So is women in power. I'm just saying, You know,
It is, yeah.
it's something about women
Yeah.
in power. Like it's
It is, yeah, because
yeah,
obviously, yeah, because you've got Georgia, you've got Empress Hoshi, you've got
yeah.
Intendant Kira, Tilly, obviously for for Discovery. So you're right, yeah, it
It's
is
yeah,
really.
it's are women evil? I'm joking. It's a joke, but it's just interesting, isn't it? How
um,
it's sort of portrayed it like that. How how all the women on top, um, which no, I'm just saying, which in some respects you could argue is it. I mean, I know obviously Discovery is quite recent, but is it? I don't know. Is it a thing of the time? I know. I guess it was different again in the 1960s, as in the Mirror universe actually still had Captain Kirk in charge, and and Spock and all
mm,
that. But I don't know. Is it a thing of the 80s and the 90s where having a woman in charge, would that flip it around? I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't really remember the 90s that much because obviously, I mean, I was born in the 90s, but could it be do with that, the idea of or maybe it was to do with it, like to explore the idea of, I mean, because you look at obviously an Enterprise. I mean, she is quite a say quite well. I'd say she can be quite timid. Uh,
timid.
yeah,
I'm glad you said timid because
yeah,
in my mind, I knew that you were going to say timid. Weirdly,
yeah.
I know you so well, but like,
And then all of a
I
sudden,
knew you were going to say that.
she's this this powerful woman who becomes the empress then, and she takes over the whole thing, and she takes over the men, and I don't know whether that's just playing on her character, or is it, I don't know. I mean, now it's hard to say. Now we're in 2020. Men and women, like, I like to think equal.
Mm,
We
mm.
are all equal, but
I think you're right. It is definitely a thing. I think maybe, yeah, because obviously at the time in our universe, it was about a man being in charge, and obviously in the mirror, we're about
yeah.
was a woman in charge. But obviously,
So
thank
that's
goodness times have changed.
yeah. Of
I mean, going
course.
on Hoshi though, I think she was the most developed sort of mirror
Hmm.
uh, alternative. I think because, like
Hmm.
you say, she was very timid, very shy. She was unsure of herself in her job, but
Hmm.
she that's what I like about that episode as well. You don't see it coming really, that she ends up, obviously, Admiral Forrest gets killed,
Hmm.
and then Hoshi poisons Jonathan Archer at the end, and you don't
Yeah.
see it coming really. She kind of just takes the Empress role for herself, and it's like, thank you. you know, um,
Yeah.
it's kind of, it reminds me of House of Cards. Really, have you seen House of Cards?
I haven't, but I know what it's about. I
It's
know
kind of
what
like,
I know the idea. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is like, yeah. So yeah, and with the Enterprise, I mean, you probably agree with the Enterprise mirror episodes are the ones that are most sort of suspenseful and most
Hmm.
keep you on the edge of your seat the most, if that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh,
The ones that are
definitely.
most, I think the best acted and the best written, and just there's just something about them. Like it's like, yeah, it's like watching a thriller film. Really, I think they're the best just
Hmm.
because of how it makes me feel when I watch it. I guess there's a lot of secrecy and espionage and
Hmm.
words like that,
Yeah.
hate and stuff like that. And the NXO-1 gets to cloak, so
Yeah.
so and that's my favorite ship, and just seeing it cloak, is awesome. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
like I said, I just think, yeah, I think Enterprise definitely nailed it. I think that was the
Mm.
perfect one.
And I think 2 episodes is all it needed. I don't think it needed anything more, really.
No, no,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
agree. Yeah.
Because I know, obviously Discovery does a lot of mirror episodes.
Hmm.
DS9, I think, has about 4 or 5.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
4. I
Yeah.
think. I only rewatched 2 of them, but because I'm currently going through a DS9 rewatch, and some of the mirror episodes I've still got to come. I think so. I
Yeah.
didn't want to watch them yet
Oh,
because
that's fair enough.
I haven't got to them. I don't think so.
But then what I remember though with DS9 was also it was a great chance to explore things like obviously Jake lost his mother in the Prime Universe, and then he gets to sort of bond with his mother's mirror self, and it's like, and which is interesting because obviously it's not his mother. His mother did die, unfortunately, but he, he sort of, it's hard for him not to accept him, or like get some kind of connection with her because it is like his mother, but you know what I mean? And I thought that was interesting as well, how it played on that, how, like, kind of like what Discovery did as well, Discovery brought in a character from the Mirror Universe and brought it into the Prime Universe, and and how that affects that person and the people around them, and stuff, and
it's that bittersweetness, isn't it? That catch-22. It's like, well, yes, she is your mother, but she's not because she's from,
she's from very far away, isn't she? Exactly. It's that sort of thing, isn't it? But is the Mirror Universe essential for the franchise?
I think it absolutely is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it was. I mean, the Mirror Universe for me, when I first started watching Star Trek, I used to sort of see it as, not necessarily I didn't take it seriously, but I just saw it as sort of like an add-on sort of thing that was just there. It's like, oh, it's a mirror episode, and then actually coming to think about it, it's amazing how much impact it has on the Prime Universe as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is actually a big part of it. And the fact that, I mean, DS9, what they did there was brilliant, referencing the original series or what, and that's mental, because you got to think, like, when they were writing that script, like, surely they didn't think, like, oh, yeah, so in the future, there'll be a series called DS9, right? And what will happen is, do you know what I mean? They didn't think about that. Awesome. They just said, oh, that's a good line, put that in, he thinks that we're good. He'll try and be good. That's, what I mean. And then all of a sudden they come up with these crazy ideas and an alliance and stuff, and then actually put the Terran Empire under slavery and things. So it's.
I think it's great that they did Mirror because it's like it's kind of like they planted a seed, not knowing that it was going to grow into this.
I like that seed.
It's like it's grown into this separate branch of Star Trek that we can dip into every now and again. It's like, we've got this, we've got this show, and we're going to have, we're going to dip into another alternate reality, and it makes for good television. It's nice to have it's nice to, explore something different, and
it opens up another door for Star Trek. It gives them, like another dimension, literally another dimension. It's just this, it's great. What's great about Star Trek is that it literally does, like, we always say explores strange new worlds and all that, and that opens up more strange new worlds to explore. What about the same place we've explored, but in a different universe? You know what I mean? It's like, it's great. It's just another way of looking at the world of Star Trek,
And it's a good, like, sort of metaphor for life, really, because it's kind of like, your decisions and your actions can have multiple consequences, and the Mirror Universe shows you what life could be like if you didn't necessarily do this, or if you didn't do that, or if you had done something a different way. Do you know what I mean? So it is awesome, and for humanity in itself, it's kind of like seeing how things could be, how if you used your powers for good, or if you used your powers for evil, or if you did invade that country, or if you joined with them, or whatever, if you loved that person, or if you hated that person, if you're trying to. So it is nice that Star Trek does that, and we get to see our favorite characters just the polar opposites of themselves, and it's awesome. And just things that I just love the opposites, and the subtle sort of the subtle differences. So, like in DS9, for instance, you've got, obviously in our universe, you've got Ferengi's rules of acquisition, but in the DS9 Mirror Universe episodes, they're actually called the rules of obedience. And they're referenced by Odo, who's an evil shapeshifter rather than Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's nice little differences like that. You know, for instance, you've got Porthos the beagle in our universe. Well, in their universe, it's like this great sort of Rottweiler type,
yeah.
nasty dog type thing, and it's just, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it just gets to explore all these differences. Things
Yeah.
could be like this, you know.
It must be fun for the writers as well. Like they literally, they just
Yeah,
sort of swapping things over.
yeah,
Just literally flipping it around.
flipping it around. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like me, you know, or me and you know, I could be the one that's wearing that hockey T-shirt and whatever, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah. Or I'm trying to think of a good example for us, but I can't.
No, I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it is interesting.
I just like you said, I love when you said the plant the seed as well. That is, I mean, it's like kind of like the idea of like beaming. Like beaming was sort of like a kind of like a beautiful accident, really, because they wanted to. Well, they didn't have budget and stuff and technology to actually land the Enterprise. So they were like, "Oh, what else can we do?" And then, "Oh, well, what about we do like beam, like like you beam them down," and then it became essential for Star Trek then, wasn't it? The whole idea of obviously, and people say "beam me down, Scotty." It's become within our own culture, everyone says "beam me down, Scotty." Big part of pop culture. Pop culture reference.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a simple thing of because they couldn't beam people down, and the mirror universe, I think, is just I mean, obviously, it's based on an actual theory because obviously the actual theory is, like you said, alternative realities and things and whatever we do and things. But yeah,
this was a question I was going to ask you, actually, bringing it back to real life. If you believed in yourself, if you believed in mirror universes, and if you believed in a parallel universe, is that something that you believe in? Do you believe that there's another Matthew Westcott somewhere? I don't know.
It's a funny one.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about it. If I'm honest with you. Like,
sorry to put you on the spot,
no,
but I
it's
thought it would just be
okay.
an interesting topic of
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean, I'm one to believe in aliens and things like that. And there's more out there. I think we're selfish to think we're on our own in the universe. I do think that. I think there's got to be more out there. I think how big the universe is, sure, that's impossible. You know what I mean? That we're on our own.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, and this is based on actual science. I mean, I think, is it, the idea of different dimensions and things like that. So I understand it a little bit. I mean, I'm not an expert. That's why I do theatre, not science. But, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that yeah, that's how time works, sort of thing. That it does have separate timelines and things, and I guess a Matthew Westcott that didn't go to uni, or a Matthew Westcott who I don't know, did something really bad or whatever. Like, I'm sure.
Or if like we weren't friends, that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes things do blow my mind though. Like you got to think, like, if I hadn't have seen you in the line when we went to college.
Yeah. If your bus was on time,
yeah,
we probably might not have been friends.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Or maybe not as close when you think about it. I might have ended up, I might have ended up talking to someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just, I can't think
this
who.
The MD1 line?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm sure we would have naturally become good friends anyway. But imagine if that moment didn't happen.
Yeah.
What would have? How else would we have found another way, or would it? I mean, I at the time I did actually know Nick technically before that because I met Nick was at my audition.
Right. Yes. Yes.
So I did sort of I did know I didn't know him, but
you recognized him. Yeah.
I recognized him and we were talking then, and then obviously then the three of us started chatting and things, and that's how it happened, really, isn't it? But that moment, the ND1 line, it's it's another thing with me that always blows my mind. Is obviously I'm working in entertainment now. That only happened because I saw an old friend of mine from school who came down to give me some books. As his sister did my course in uni, and she had some books. I was going into my third year, and she gave me some books to lend for the third year. and he just came down my flat, and I asked him the question, so what have you been up to this summer? That's all I said. What have you been up to this summer? And he said, oh, I was working at Pontins in Breen. And I said,
Ah,
oh,
right.
what's that? And then we were talking about it. And then I ended up, well, I asked him about it afterwards and then ended up working there. But if I hadn't have asked him that question, what did you do this summer? That would
Yeah.
never have happened. And I wouldn't probably be here right now. I don't know where I would, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Would I have worked on cruise ships then? I don't think I would have. It was thanks to me saying, what did you do in the summer? It's just, and things like that do blow my mind. So I do think actually now thinking about it, there might be, yeah, I guess there must be. Well, the idea is that there was a Matthew who didn't ask that then, or a Matthew who, you know what I mean, who didn't see you in the ND1 line, and or Matthew who probably didn't even study drama. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
so I'm sure you've got a lot of stories like that. You know, things that if you hadn't have, I mean,
Yeah.
you moved to Wales, like
Mm.
what happens if you didn't move to Wales?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
we wouldn't have met at all.
yeah,
That's true.
exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's things, there's
Yeah.
things
That's
like that. Whoop, there's things like that with like sometimes just simple conversation, like I think with people that makes things happen. It is,
yeah.
it's true what they say. It's the butterfly effect, isn't it? You know,
Yeah, the
like
butterfly effect. Yes, that is
how
it.
you
Yeah.
can just change everything. Just and that stuff like that does blow my mind. Like, what if my friend's sister didn't offer me the books? What if she forgot? What if he never came down?
Yeah.
Like and I do think about that. I think that's mental.
And I mean, and Star Trek does do that. It is a lot of what ifs. What if
Yeah.
Kira was bad, or um, what if the Klingons and Kardashians formed an alliance? What would happen?
Hmm.
What would it is a lot of what ifs, and it's nice that Star Trek does that with the mirror universe. But so many what ifs in our life. Like I know I had obviously a gap year after college. What happened if I'd have gone to uni straight away, or you know
Exactly.
what would it, or if even if I'd have chosen a different university to go to, or
Yeah.
you know
It is crazy, and you got to think like like when you move into uni, they put your name down, obviously, of a group to live with, don't they? You have your
mm.
housemates, especially in halls. They go, all right, Dan, you're going to be living with Max or whatever. I don't know. I don't know your housemate's name. Sorry, but you know what I mean. But
Well, in first year it was Tom, so
oh well. So Tom, right? Imagine they said, actually, no, put him with Jack. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and then you don't know what the relationship would have been with that person, and
yeah,
it does blow my mind. Like, you gotta think
it
how
is
things
crazy.
are. I mean, another thing to look at as well, I guess, and I think it kind of sort of links into this sort of theme is the idea of fate. Is things written in stone, like and I mean, my mother's a big believer of fate. I'm not so much really. I'm a bit like, oh, I don't know. But my mother's very believing the idea that everything's written in stone, sort of thing. Or
I think there is and there isn't. Personally, I think
yeah,
there is stuff that you do make yourself, but I also think if it is meant to be, it's meant to be. I think it's
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
like that. I think it's I don't know, it's kind of like 50-50. I think
Hmm.
there are things that are fate and there are things that aren't, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you got people as well who like obviously get married and things, and you gotta think if they hadn't met that person, and or like if they didn't go to a certain place at a certain time.
Mm.
And things like that do actually blow my mind. Like, it's like, where would we be now, or what would happen? And yeah, it does. No, I think, and that's what good about Mirror Mirror is it kind of shows the importance, I guess, of like history as well, and events that happen in history. Like, for instance, the idea that Spock, you know, obviously he learns about a universe where everyone's equal and stuff, and then he tries to enforce that onto his own universe. But in the
Mm.
end, obviously, we had the alliance. But again, that's thanks to that one moment in history that caused
Yeah,
all that, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would have happened if, Kirk hadn't have said those words to him, or if Bones had just left spot line on the floor or whatever. So
left him to die. Yeah.
Left him to die. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. It is. Yeah. So is the Mirror Universe essentially the franchise? Yes, it is. I think it's a massive part, and I love the idea that Discovery are really, working on it as well as the Enterprise did. I think it's brilliant that we're still,
I think it's essential because it sparks. It's essential because it sparks conversations like the one that we've just had.
Yeah, which Star Trek is all about, to boldly go when no one has gone before.
Yes.
Right then. Wow. I'm going to go through. Here we go. Right then. So, what an episode. Amazing. There was so much to talk about. I didn't realize, and we were struggling to think of things to talk about on this show. And then I was like, what about the Mirror Universe? And like the Mirror Universe being a simple seed, here we go. It's just
you plant seeds and they grow.
Plant seeds and they grow. There we are. Right, and so thank you everyone for listening or watching. Of course, we watched us on Facebook at M&DHQ. Also give us a like there, please. Also on our YouTube channel, type Matt and Dan House of Quark. You'll find us there. Also, again, please subscribe and ring that bell as well, because it'll notify you when we do have another video. Or listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Anchor, Breaker, and of course Overcast and Pocket Casts as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been Matt and Dan in House of Quark. Remember, enjoy the rest of your time, and we'll see you around. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. He said it really shortly. Usually you leave a pause. I
got excited. Yes. See you around.
See you around.